Hello and welcome to the Unnamed Car Buying Show. I'm your host, Jeff Glucker, joined with my friend and colleague, Lynn Woodward. Hello, Lynn.
Hi.
So we've done trucks, we've done V8s, we've done Corvettes, we've Overlanders. Today, though, we're thinking about the children. Today, we're
Back to
talking
school time, man. It's back to school time,
perfect timing. This is the
right?
start of the second week of my 9-year-old's back to school. So today's challenge is the best first car for a kid with a max budget of $15,000, which is more than my parents would have ever spent. But we're opening up a wide range to see what's out there. And like usual, I'm going to let you kick things off. Show me what you got. Send your text over, and I will look at it as you start to explain what you picked.
Yeah. There's going to be no preamble this time because I've decided I talk way too
I
much.
had to cut you off.
So, yeah, when someone has to cut you off, you know it's a bad sign. So, this is my pick.
Mm, okay.
Th- Oh no,
No, no, no. This is a
not an
great choice.
excited reaction that I was hoping
This
for.
is a fantastic choice.
Okay, I instantly went to hot hatch because I think small, but still has some utility when you can put all your stuff in the back. I mean, there's no way a kid going off to college or someone in high school like can't deal with the space. This is a 2015 VW Golf GTIS. 62,600 miles, 13,995 bucks. Look, this is a cool, fun car to drive. Period. This one in particular, I think is great. It's that awesome blue, like kind of metallic color on the outside. The inside is the tartan interior, which is super rad. It's an automatic, so you don't have to have your teen like freaking out that they're not going to be able to drive a manual. But so there's that. That's fine. Turbocharged engine, 210 horsepower. So it's not too much fun,
Mhm.
right? But it's just enough fun. The one thing that I think might be a little bit of a hesitancy, and I'd be interested to hear what you think about this as a dad who might
Mhm.
soon have to put their daughter into a car. It doesn't come with all of the sort of newfangled, like super advanced driver safety things. When I've heard friends want to put their kids into a first car, it's like, well, it has to have the emergency, braking, and then it has to have the lane centering, and it has to have, it's like, just let your kids figure out how to drive, maybe, or teach them well, and they won't need all of that stuff. So the GTI is my first choice. However, if people are a little bit reluctant to put their kid into something that maybe is a little sportier when you are first out of the gate, when I was looking, there was no shortage of S SEs, SELs. There was even an e-golf that I found if you want to give your kid an electric car.
With
Right.
like 40 miles of range.
Oh, at this
No, no, no.
point,
I'm I'm
yes.
I'm just kidding. I think it's like maybe
It's
80
like
or
it's
90.
like it no, I think it's like 100. It's maybe less than 100 because it was I think a
Yeah.
20, maybe a 2015 or
Yeah.
something.
A great car, just needed a better battery.
I think that VW is a great way to go. Another one thing that I will say as an owner of a VW wagon, when it comes to fixing stuff, parts can be a tad expensive because they're
Mhm.
German.
Yep.
But I think the hot hatch, the Golf in particular, it's a great looking car. Your kid is not going to be embarrassed because let's face it. I mean, I thought Kia Soul would be a really good pick too because I just think it's super
Sure.
cute.
Yeah.
But this is where I landed, and I'm going to, yeah, I'm really confident going into this. I think this one is going to be tough for you to beat.
Okay. I think that is a very good choice. I'm just clicking mine to send over. And you're going to be surprised to find that we have landed on the same
I
manufacturer.
I knew
So
I
I,
knew that this would happen at some point.
I know I have the tendency to think of like my mind goes to cool cars, and I did look at Autotrader Classic, but to be honest, I need something that if I'm going to put my kid in it, I don't need it to have lane centering and smart cruise control. I just need it to have modern airbags and modern crash safety standards for the most part. The other thing I searched for that would help alleviate, and let me say, if it'll show up on screen, but if anybody was just listening, I've picked a 2012 Volkswagen Passat 2.5S. It has 100,000 miles, but it looks extremely well maintained. The reason I picked it though is because I purposely searched for vehicles with manual gearboxes because I think learning how to drive on a manual makes the driver a more attentive driver. You're paying more attention to what the machine is doing. And in doing so, like in my Montero, I'm watching everyone around me. I do that in any car regardless, but in my Montero, I need to know if I need to downshift on the freeway to maintain my speed, like all sorts of things. You're paying more attention than if I was just cruising in an automatic where you pay less attention. And then in even more modern cars, if you think you have safety measures in place to keep you more safe, that could sometimes make for a reduction. It's almost like how modern Air Force pilots, the older guys grumble. They're like, these pilots don't know what they're doing because they have all these safety things. And there may be some truth to that, but more specifically in a car, I want them more in tune with what the vehicle is doing. So I almost went with a Mini Cooper that was a manual gearbox. It was a 13. Um, so and the reason I would like that is because less room inside means less room for distracting friends driving along with them, which is something I thought about. But
Yep.
at the same time, this 2012, it even has like head curtain side airbags. So there's that safety level. It should be okay on fuel economy. This says 32 highway. And then it still has the most basic Bluetooth connection so they could have their phone paired if I needed to call them. Um, that said, I still want a car to be fun. Nothing about this Passat is fun.
Except that it has a manual transmission and there's a little bit of fun
There's
there
a
when
little
you're
bit, and like,
going around.
I would do like, hey, kiddo, let's do wheels and tires. Like, let's make this look cool.
You're a good
It's
dad.
it's still a Passat at the end of the day. Your GTI is a great choice. The only thing I wish it was a manual, but on the flip side, I know I set our budget at 15. But
Mhm.
like my first car was $1,000, which at the time was like, oh my God, I can't believe. And I just had to work it off from my parents, but I couldn't believe that we spent that much money on a car. So this car is under 7,000. And it's funny because both of these are under the price I paid for my own daily driver. Because you and I both like older, and like I actually did go to Classic. I found a 1966 Vandenplas Princess, which I was gonna post as a joke for like a princess for my princess, but like I wouldn't put her in a car from 1966 from a weird brand. It's not even a Jag. It's just a Vandenplas Princess, which was actually a really cool car. There was like a Dodge Dart, there was a Ram Charger. I'm like, oh, SUV will be safe. It's got a big V8, but I have to be somewhat practical here. And yeah, I went with the manual gearbox, which for all you parents out there, if you know how to drive a manual, you should teach your kids to drive a manual. They might not
100%.
ever need it, but maybe someday they will need to hop in a car and know how to use it. And I really think that driving a manual makes kids pay more attention to the world around them. At least I hope that's the case, because my daughter will drive my Montero someday, as long as the engine is still running. And if this ever gets an engine, maybe she'll drive that too, but not first.
Possibility. Strong possibility. I'm rooting for you on
So
both fronts.
thank you. On this one, I'm going to be honest here. I almost feel like we're going to need to defer to the 5 people who are going to comment on this video,
Yeah,
because there are reasons for both of these. Your mileage is fantastic, and it's not that, it's like 1 year newer, and
right,
it's a more entertaining car without being an overwhelming car. Like
right.
even a base Golf is still a fun car to drive.
Sure.
Um,
100%.
GTIs are awesome though. So if you teach them how to drive well, they're going to have a lot of fun in the car. But your price is higher, but your mileage is way lower. Um, on the flip side, I think my manual gearbox argument and the cleanliness of that car, and it still has all the modern features, and my price. So like we could go back and forth on either one of these.
Agreed. Agreed.
I
I
think it's too
honestly,
close.
I think the manual transmission, I think that argument is actually a really good one. It's certainly solid. I would think for anybody who doesn't kind of do what we do or is in this space, probably don't even drive a manual themselves. And
Mhm.
so would never even think of something like that. So I think that's a really good point to bring up. I'm glad you just said what you said, although 100% I was willing to concede that I would Yours is a better choice. But since you didn't, then yeah, I say we put it to a vote
Yeah.
and see who wins.
Because you're under budget and your mileage is 62,000 miles is fantastic. So the kid could drive that all through college and
Oh, 100%.
stay under 100,000. I mean, unless they go to school in somewhere on the East Coast and they're driving back and forth if they're based out here, vice versa. We have tied. Yeah, yeah, you need to tell me to shut up this time.
Shut up. No.
There you go. And for those of you watching, tell us who won. Who do you think won? Or also sound off on better choices.